Alright, let's talk about the best. Hey everyone, welcome to a cool little video. I'm going to be talking about what I think the best movie of each decade is, but also my favorite movie of each decade. Best and favorite. I'm going to go all the way from the 20s to the, 2020. From the 20s to the 20s. Yes, just so many decades of cinema have passed through the time of ages of cinema, and it's pretty cool. I'm going to go through the golden age into now, the shit age. The unoriginal age. But I thought this would be a cool idea. I'm going to just judge it off of my, I guess, opinion. But I'm going to try to be as objective as I can of what I think the best made movie is. And again, it's even when I speaking objectively, it's subjectively objective. It just I'm going to try to put my biases and just be like, what do I think actually is the best movie of each decade? But also, I thought it'd be a fun little thing to be like, this is my favorite movie of each decade. To, show a little bit of my taste and stuff. So, let's not waste your time. Let's get to it. Let's start with the 1920s. The beginning of, well, not really the beginning of cinema, but the beginning of mainline cinema and stuff. Like, Nosferatu is a great movie, but I think my favorite movie is the best movie of the 1920s, which is Metropolis. Fritz Lang's Metropolis. It's a movie that still is shown in film classes, is considered one of the greatest silent films. I don't think it's the greatest, but it's one of the greatest. It's a sci-fi, almost epic silent movie. It's deep story, beautiful writing. It's still being like, a lot of sci-fi films and even period piece films borrow tropes from Metropolis, filmmaking styles and storytelling wise. It's iconic, and it's in the masses. It's one of the best silent films ever, and when people think of the 1920s, they think of Metropolis, and for good reason. It is the best of the 1920s. In my opinion. All right, now the 1930s. The 1930s, this is when shit started getting all really great. This is when like the academies was coming out, and recognition for some of the all-time greats. My personal favorite is Charlie Chaplin's Modern Times by Charlie Chaplin, 1936. I've talked about this movie a ton, so I think people are a little sick to death of me talking about Modern Times. I think it's Charlie Chaplin's best movie. I think it's Charlie Chaplin's masterpiece. I think what it has to say about society, labor unions, and stuff is fantastic. I think it's one of the funniest, most creative, and one of the most deep movies he has made. Again, everyone has their favorite Chaplin movie: Gold Rush, The Dictator, The Kid. City Lights is a popular one, but Modern Times, that's my Charlie Chaplin movie. But the best movie, I really think it's Gone with the Wind. I think Gone with the Wind is the best movie of the 1930s. I think it just, filmmaking-wise, it's revolutionary and groundbreaking. I know it's a controversial movie now, but I think it's truly a masterful craft of filmmaking. Victor Fleming did an incredible job with this movie. I think the acting by everybody is top tier. The costume design, production design, cinematography, the script, like, it is all stellar. There's a reason this movie won, 9 Academy Awards, back when the Oscars actually meant something. Incredible. It is an amazing movie. And even if you watch it now and get pissed off watching it, you cannot deny how incredibly made the film is. So I think objectively it is the best made movie of the 1930s. All right, 1940s now. My favorite, I think, is the best. Okay, let's just address the elephant in the room of Citizen Kane. Everyone says this is considered one of the greatest films of all time, and honestly, that's fine. That's a very fair point. I think it is the best directed movie, one of the most best directed movies of all time. I think some of the film techniques, camera angles, movements, and shadows Orson Welles uses in Citizen Kane is amazing. the visual storytelling that he uses in the movie is still hasn't even been really utilized a lot in modern filmmaking, which is crazy, but it is a brilliant piece of cinema. However, I think Casablanca is the best and is my favorite. So now it's hard to show the biases, I know, but Kane is the best directed movie, but I think Casablanca is one of the greatest stories ever told in film. And I think we don't have a lot without Casablanca. I think a lot of movies aren't what they are now without Casablanca. It is legit like one of the most important love stories ever in cinema, and it's the greatest love story in all of cinema. So I think Casablanca is the greatest American film ever made. I think it has one of the best scripts, some of the best characters, some of the best performances, and one of the best endings to a movie. I think it's the best, and it's my favorite too. So, all right, 1950s. This is gonna go different because my favorite is Rear Window. Rear Window is my favorite movie of the 50s. It is my favorite Hitchcock movie. I love Jimmy Stewart and Grace Kelly in the movie. I love the filmmaking techniques. I love the atmosphere. I love even some of its comedic undertones. I love what Hitchcock did with this movie, and I love the apartment setting. It's all in the apartment of this man watching his neighbors, and then one of his neighbors might be a murderer and stuff, and him trying to prove it. I think it's a fantastic and timeless story. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. It is likable. It's enjoyable. It's thrilling. It's just, I think it's the best Hitchcock movie ever made, but that's just me. However, the best movie of the 50s is Seven Samurai. Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. That is a perfect movie. And it's one of my favorites too. Just Rear Window, I personally like more because I watch it more. Seven Samurai is a lot longer. It's like 3.5 hours long, so it takes a bit to watch, but it's amazing. It's got some of the most underrated acting performances. The movie got nothing because I guess Japanese movies just never got the recognition back in the day. But this movie has stood the test of time, and it is one of the greats. Again, the movie's so good, it's still being remade because the Magnificent Seven and all these other stories and samurai stories are all basically copying what Seven Samurai is. And it hit the landmark of Japanese cinema, and it really brought out great samurai stories, and every samurai story wants to be as good as Seven Samurai, and it never will be, because it's one of a kind. All right, 1960s. The 1960s, again, my favorite, I think, is the best. That's Lawrence of Arabia. I could have went Psycho. I could have went like To Kill a Mockingbird. There's a lot of things in the 60s that were truly amazing. But Lawrence of Arabia, again, is the best made movie. David Lean's epic. I think Peter O'Toole, Omar Sharif, Alec Guinness, everyone is on their A game in the movie. It's one of the most deep, profound movies. It's not only a great epic and a beautifully shot movie in the desert, it has amazing action sequences and groundbreaking landmarks and amazing writing and just a really powerful ending and quotable lines. It's just a perfect movie. And it's so deep with its main character of Lawrence. And movies were always entertaining, but man, Lawrence of Arabia showed that epics can also be super profound and super deep. And yeah, we have Lawrence of Arabia to thank for that. All right, the 70s, the 1970s. Now this is a hell of a decade. A lot of just stupendous movies. And this was hard. This is very hard to pick, like, what do I think the best movie of the 70s is, because 70s is one of the greatest decades of all cinema. My favorite is Jaws. Like, that is probably my favorite movie of the 70s. And honestly, what I think the best is also one of my favorites, but Jaws is just the movie I've seen the most. That and Star Wars. Could have also went with like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but Jaws is just a one-of-a-kind movie to me. It's Spielberg did an amazing job. This was like Spielberg's third movie, So good. One of the best shark movies ever made. And great movie about just three characters on a boat hunting a shark. It's so good. However, The Godfather. I think The Godfather's the best. You can even say Godfather Part 2. Maybe both. The Godfather is, again, considered one of the great American movies of all time. For good reason. Marlon Brando, James Caan, Al Pacino, Diane Keaton. This made people's careers, people got to be A-list actors because of The Godfather and how amazing it was. It's the greatest crime mob story ever made. Period. All right, the 80s. Everyone loves the 80s. And if you know me very well, you know what my favorite movie of the 80s. It's Blade Runner. It's like everyone knows. I've been on this channel for 10 years, and Blade Runner has not changed to be my favorite film of all time. So let's not talk about Blade Runner. Yeah, you all heard it. I did a whole video on Blade Runner. So what do I think the best? To me, the best movie of the 80s is Amadeus. I think Amadeus is the best made movie. Again, costume design, production design, acting, performances, direction, writing, and just how amazing the story is. And I love that it's a fictional story about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. It is not historically accurate because that's the point. It's through the point of view of someone who hates him. That's the point of the movie. F. Murray Abraham and Tom Hulce give amazing performances, and the movie is truly top tier, amazing. And as much as Blade Runner is my favorite movie, it's not a perfect movie, Blade Runner, but Amadeus to me is a perfect movie. So Amadeus is the best movie for me. Or the 1990s, the 90s. My favorite's Good Will Hunting. I think a lot of people know that already. Good Will Hunting is what inspired me to start writing movies. Because Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's script just really hit my core and my emotions and stuff. And I love the characters in that movie, and I love the setting of that movie. The movie is definitely not perfect, but it's a movie I just hold very dear to me, and I love it so much. So I have a personal love for Good Will Hunting. So it is my favorite movie of the 1990s. But what is the best movie of the 1990s? Now that's the real question. That's a tough one. It really is tough. I know a lot of people are going to want to say Shawshank Redemption. And I think that movie is very good. It is a very good movie. I don't think it is the best movie, though. I think it has imperfections. I really think it's The Silence of the Lambs. I know that's a bold thing to say. I know that's a crazy thing to say a really fucked up psychological thriller is the best movie of the 90s. I truly think it's one of the best pieces of cinema out there, Silence of the Lambs. Even though, again, Good Will Hunting I like more because it's just something about it brings me joy, even though that's a very hard-hitting drama. But and I love Robin Williams so much in that movie. But Silence of the Lambs is some of the best piece of acting again. Anthony Hopkins, Jodie Foster crushed the roles. It's a very, very jaw-dropping thriller, and it is absolutely insane, and it's fucking amazing. It's an amazing movie. If you haven't seen Silence, I've never met a single person in my life that has watched Silence of the Lambs and not liked it. That's how amazing it is. It is that good. So yeah, Silence of the Lambs. Fight me on it. All right, the 2000s. All right, the 2000s. We're getting tough now. And I could just went with a Harry Potter movie and something like that. I don't know. It could have went with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Batman Begins. There's just a lot of this is when the mainstream stuff was something that hit dear to me. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to pick a favorite of the 2000s. However, I have to go with the movie I've watched the most. Just a movie that I will always put on, and it hits with me. So I gotta go with I gotta go with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's cheating, but I gotta go with the trilogy. To me, it's one big movie. Even when you can read Lord of the Rings as one big book. It's the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's just something I always watch every year, and it always hits with me. I love it dearly. I love these characters. I love Tolkien's writing. I love the world of Middle Earth, and it's just it means something to me, and it's important to me. So I had to go with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. You can almost debate that is that is like the best movie of the 2000s and stuff, but I don't know if I'd go that far. For me, I'm just like, I really had to look at a lot of movies that came out in the 2000s, and I'm like, what was like the best made movie? What really was groundbreaking, filmmaking wise, and just it's something that like it was unique and just it's a one of a kind film. And I went with No Country for Old Men. No Country for Old Men, there is not movies like it. It is truly a fantastic movie. Again, I'll watch Lord of the Rings every year. No Country for Old Men is not a pleasant movie to watch, just like Silence of the Lambs, but the filmmaking in No Country for Old Men, the fact that there's like no music, it's very quiet, it's very atmospheric. It is one of the most intense movies I've ever watched. And again, performances by everybody. Javier Bardem, Tommy Lee Jones, Woody Harrelson, Josh Brolin, all are top tier. It is something that you just have to see it to believe it. Just what you're watching. And again, it's a movie that is studied in film classes of how to tell stories properly, how to create atmosphere. It's just, I think, writing, direction, cinematography, everything, editing, some of the best editing you will see in a movie, I think it just does it to perfection. So, No Country for Old Men. 2010s now. 2010s. It's funny because I'm going with an animated movie. It's hilarious. I'm going with Your Name. Your Name. It just, again, this is just personal. Like, it is my favorite movie. It just hit with me in a certain way. It's a beautiful story. The animation is fucking incredible. Like, I could have went with Spirited Away, actually, for the best movie of the 2000s, but I had to go with No Country for Old Men. But Your Name is a personal favorite. And it's almost like every time I watch it, it's almost becoming one of my favorite anime films of all time. Almost beating Spirited Away. Not quite there yet, but yeah, Your Name is my personal favorite. How would I think the best movie of the 2010s? It's Whiplash. Whiplash is, once again, a one-of-a-kind movie. And it's hilarious that Damien Chazelle, this was like his like first huge movie, and he has just gone downhill since. Like, I liked La La Land, but like nothing has came close to how incredibly made Whiplash was. Again, Miles Teller, J.K. Simmons, perfection. Some of the best piece of editing. I've never seen such slick editing in my life. Script writing, direction. It's a movie about obsession and being the best and stuff. It's an interesting character study of who the hero and the villain is. It's a story pretty much about two villains and stuff. It is a perfect movie. And yeah. I know people are probably thinking Inception. Inception's great too, but Whiplash, again, one of a kind movie. And now we've reached our shitty decade now of the 2020s. Hard to pick because this decade's still going. But as of now, like right now, my favorite movie? I would say, again, my favorite movie... Iron Claw's my favorite, I'd say. I've watched it 3 times now, and it still hits me on an emotional level, so Iron Claw might be my favorite. However, my second favorite, I think, is the best. Nosferatu. I think Nosferatu is the best made movie. I think the Oscars are a joke for snubbing it for all these awards because I think it is the best made movie this entire decade so far. Easily, hands down. So, thank you all for watching. That was my favorite and best movie of each decade. Give me your opinions. What do you think is the best movie of each decade? Comment below and let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the next set.